Hello and welcome back to Goals Galore and welcome to my Swansea City 23-24 Championship review of the season. If you want to enjoy the video, smash the like button as always and subscribe and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought on the season altogether for the Swans. So cast your minds back to last summer when we appointed Michael Duff from Barnsley, of course, after Russell Martin got taken from us by Southampton, a relegated side, who he's later been able to get promoted. Michael Duff, though, of course, seemed to be an appointment where he was going to get results on the board. He seemed like a winner and didn't care too much about performances on the pitch. He was all about what you got off the pitch in terms of league position. In the summer then, we brought in a lot of new faces, likes of Josh Nelly, Josh Key, Jerry Yates, Mikola Kuhahedovic, Carl Rushworth, Ashby, Patino, Tuje Aon, Nathan Broom, Christian Pedersen, Bashir Humphreys, Jamal Lowe and Josh Tymon. We said goodbye to Ryan Manning, Kyle Joseph, Morgan Whittaker, which is, I don't know why we let him go for so cheap, Olivier Encham, Joel Perot, Stephen Bender and Brandon Cooper. So it was a very, very busy summer for the Swans. A lot of people were very hyped up. Let's see how we got on the pitch. So in August then, on the opening day, we begun with a home fixture against Birmingham City and we drew this one 1-1. We didn't really know what to expect from Michael Duff as a manager, and looking back on it, it wasn't a great result. Of course, Birmingham ended up getting relegated, but we had an offside goal given incorrectly against us. So this should have been a 2-1 win for the Swans, being brutally honest in this one. But an opening day draw at home isn't the worst thing in the world. Then we went on to a cup game, the first win for Michael Duff in a competitive game as Swansea manager. We beat Northampton 3-0 in the Carabao Cup to advance to the next stage. And that was the first time, yes, it's against lower league opposition, but it was the first time we really got to see a confident performance from the Swansea players. Then, of course, back to league action, still in August, we lost 3-2 away to West Brom. We were 3-0 down and we started to mount a comeback, but it was too little too late. And I think this was the first start of signs where we just didn't look organised at all without the ball. Everyone just looked all over the place and it was a complete mess. Then we went back home and we drew 1-1 against Coventry. This was a really good point because Coventry, of course, coming off the back of last season, finishing in the playoffs and reaching the playoff final. This was a good point. And then, of course, we went away to Deepdale. I'm pretty sure we went 1-0 up in this game, thanks to Harrison Ashby. And then we lost 2-1 against Preston, who started the season really strongly. And to end off August, we lost 3-2 in the Cup to Bournemouth. In the Carabao Cup. It was a really good game. I think this is the first game we really did look really good. I was really happy with our performance from this game and I thought we were unlucky not to win it. I think first half we were much the better side. It's just second half, Bournemouth put the big players on and rescued the result for themselves. So that's August and still the Swans are searching for their first win of the 23-24 season. Moving on to September then, the month has changed, but the results did not. We started off with a home game against Bristol City, which we lost 2-1, but we did open the scoring, and looking on the back end of August, we opened the scoring against Preston and Bournemouth, and then again against Bristol City. It's just we couldn't hold on to them leads, so it was promising signs we were getting in front, just couldn't hold on to the leads, and the same happened in this one where we lost 2-1 to Bristol City. That's the game where we never want to talk about again. The loss to them lot up the road, 2-0. And from Michael Duff's comments before the game, it really did seal his fate already, really. That he didn't care about the result. He said something along the lines that he preferred to get promoted than beat Cardiff twice. Something like that. And it did not go down well with the supporters. Of course, we lost that one. Awful evening. Then, of course, we had a game straight away after to try and, make the fans feel a bit better. But drawing 1-1 away at QPR. Once again, we took the lead. It's just late on. Lyndon Dykes broke Swans fans' hearts. And still, no first league win of the season for the Swans. But that was soon changed. 7 games into the season. We're a home game against Sheffield Wednesday, who had an awful start as well. It was a must-win at this point, and thankfully we did. We won 3-0. Yates getting on the score sheet, along with Patino as well, who was on loan. Them two, of course, played together on loan last season at Blackpool. Patino was on loan, sorry. Yates, of course, permanent signing. And then we made it 2 wins in a row, back-to-back wins, as we went away to the Den in September and won 3-0. That Matt Grimes goal, call it a bit lucky. What a strike, and Kuha Hedovic getting his first goal of the season for Swansea as well, and what turns out to be his only goal in Swansea colours so far. Moving on to October, and these results continued. The victories kept on coming for a short while at least, and it was, of course, first win of October against Norwich City, our first game, and once again in this one we took the lead thanks to Jamalo. Then it was, I think, a Gabriel Sara goal to peg Norwich back, and then late on Bashir Humphreys. And at this point, I was thinking, okay, Swans can start to push for the playoffs here, but no, this was not a sign of things to come at home, at least. Away from home then, we went to play Plymouth. We won 3-1, which was a great win, because Plymouth at the start of the season, and throughout the whole season, to be honest, at home park, were such a strong side and really difficult to beat. So a 3-1 win there was huge. Then, after a great run of games, 5 unbeaten, 4 wins in a row, then we hosted Leicester City, and this is where the table started to turn for the worse. We lost 3-1 in this one, once again scoring the first goal of the game, not being able to hold on to that lead, and then defeat to Watford the following home game. 1-0, this was a really scrappy game. We had a Christian Pedersen header ruled out for offside or a foul. Still don't know to this day. Wrongly disallowed though, in my opinion. And then, of course, Watford won the game. And then at the end of October, we got back to winning ways of our first win at Ewood Park in absolutely ages. I think it was something crazy, like since 1954, it was 54 years. I remember 54. Something about that stat was 54 years, but it's been ages since we last beaten Blackburn away at Ewood Park. But we did it here under Michael Duff to end October with 3 wins, 2 defeats. Into November, we begun with a home game against Sunderland, where Charlie Patino, of course, got sent off, and from then it was, you know, defend for the Swans, and in the end we come out with a clean sheet and a 0-0 draw. At the other end, of course, I think we had a penalty and it was missed during this game. Seemed to be a popular occurrence during the season when we missed penalties. Moving on then, we played Ipswich away at Portman Road. Ipswich, of course, later got on to gain automatic promotion in the Championship, an incredible season for them. In this one, yet again, we opened the scoring, and then, yeah, heads dropped, another red card in this game, and then we scored a consolation goal late on to draw it back to 3-2, make it a bit closer than what it really was in that game. And then, of course, back home later on in the month after that international break, we had a game against Hull, took the lead again in this game, went 2-0 up in fact. Yates and Patterson on the score sheet, we couldn't hang on to it, and this was becoming a reoccurring theme under Michael Duff, where we could take the lead at this point, we just couldn't defend the lead and hold on to it, and that seemed to be a problem. We moved on then to the final game of November against Leeds United, where we lost 3-1, but a positive out of this game, of course, Yannick Bolasie signed for the Swans and made his debut away at Ellen Road. Of course, Bolasie made a few appearances for the Swans. I think he stayed until around January time before departing, but incredible moment. Yannick Bolasie, of course, played most popularly and be remembered for his time at Crystal Palace, and for him to come at Swansea was a breath of fresh air and really did get the fans excited and off their feet whenever he was on the ball. Which, of course, we start in December, where he made his home debut for the Swans, and we drew 1-1. This actually become Michael Duff's final game in charge for the Swans. But Yannick Bolasie in this game, I remember, I think he come on at half-time, and yeah, every time he got the ball, it was quite a lot in the opening stages. The roar from the fans, just everyone knew something was going to happen. Either a ball in the box or a shot would come from it, or win a corner. Something was going to happen from Yannick Bolasie, and we missed that creative player and creative outlet on the wing throughout the start of the season. So Yannick Bolasie was a great signing. Didn't really hit the ground running in terms of goal contributions, but he was a breath of fresh air and got supporters excited in a really tough time being a Swans fan. Of course, then, that 1-1 draw against Huddersfield rescued it late on with a Charlie Patino goal after Ben Cabango's own goal in the first half, only moments in, and Huddersfield were one of those sides who were really frustrating us. We attacked a lot in that game, only able to get a point, and I think it was half time in that game. I went down to get a hot chocolate, and I seen on one of the screens Swans, I think, were dropping into the relegation zone or just a point out. And yeah, that's when you knew it was getting serious. And the Swans board then noticed it was getting serious, and that was Michael Duff's final game. He ended up getting sacked on the 4th of December. He appointed in June and only lasting till the 4th of December. So Michael Duff's tenure at Swansea was over, and it has to be said it wasn't a good one at all. Moving on then, from this point, we had Alan Sheehan in charge for the rest of the games in December and the first one of January. His first game was away to Rotherham, and at this point in the season, we're down there in the table. We need the points, and Rotherham, who were also down there, also needed points. So it looked like a crunch game in the festive period, and luckily we got the win 2-1. We took the lead, pegged back, and then Jerry Yates late on delivered the goods for the Swans to get their first win of December, and first win under Alan Sheehan, which was great, of course, for the fans, lifted the mood. And then, of course, next game away to Stoke City, we drew this one 1-1, and we were pegged behind after conceding the penalty. Just didn't look like it was going to be our night, but then we come from behind, showing the character on 2 occasions here that under Aaron Sheehan we could score goals, and we had the fight and desire in ourselves to pull a game back, which is great to see. Moving on then to Middlesbrough, the only game of the season at home I didn't attend, so I can't really comment too much, but I'm pretty sure we were 1-0 down in 1-1 in Middlesbrough, won it 2-1 in this game, and of course 2-1 victory for Middlesbrough, the first defeat under Alan Sheehan's tenure at Swansea. And then, of course, there was a huge game just before Christmas, the final game before Christmas. It was against Preston North End at home, and going into the game, you knew it was a must-win game for where Swans were in the table at the moment. Yes, Alan Shearer had won a few games, but this one really was a must-win game, and luckily we did. It was late on, Jimmy Patterson with a brace, and yeah, that was incredible. Great Christmas present, and a huge win at that. Off the Boxing Day then, the Swans went away to Russell Martin at Southampton, and yeah, they battered us 5-0. Not a great Christmas present, Russell. Could have done a lot better there and let the Swans have the win. But no, they were an incredible run of form, Southampton at this point, and yet again when we played them the second time in January. We'll get onto that in just a second, but this game, there was night and day between the two sides. And Sheehan, when at Swansea and being the man to taking control, the play was nice, you know, possession based. We looked to get forward at that point in the season because of the mess left behind from Michael Duff. It was all about just getting points on the board at this time and trying not to go down. So a great, you know, not a great game against Southampton on Boxing Day, but it soon got a little bit better when we played Coventry for our final game in 2023, and we drew this one 2-2, continuing our great record against Coventry City, and this one really was a good result. A 2-2 draw, Liam Cullen late on with that free kick. What a way to send us into the new year. And we begun 2024 with a first league win of the new calendar year, a win against West Brom, who later ended up in the playoffs, of course. This was a great day. Swans defended so well. Going forward, we took our chance, the only one we needed to, from Liam Cullen. After that, of course, Alan Sheehan had to take a step back because Luke Williams was appointed. The Swans took a month and a day to appoint a new manager. Yes, it's Christmas time, but really that took ages. Luckily, Alan Sheehan really did you know, help us out. Otherwise, we could have been in a sticky situation when Luke Williams was appointed. And everyone knows from Luke Williams' times at Notts County, he likes to play possession-based football, and his team at Notts County was typically involved in a lot of goals being scored and conceded. So could he bolster the defence here, or would it be much of the same at Notts County? That was really the question going into his appointment. And the first game for him was an FA Cup game to get himself into managing at Swansea City, and it was a 2-0 win. We saw the players have a lot of the ball and sometimes overplay. It looked like everyone was sort of scared to shoot. Instead, they would just pass it across. But in the end, we got a nice 2-0 win in Luke Williams' first game. And then his first championship game for Luke Williams was much of Swansea City, what you expect. The Swans were 2-1 up for so long in the game, and then last minute, Jordan James with a goal for Birmingham to take a point for them. So in the end, Birmingham get relegated, and Swans only taking 2 points out of a possible 6 off the Blues this season. Definitely should have been a lot better, but we won't have to play them next season. Then, of course, Luke Williams, who was here under Russell Martin, when Russell Martin was manager at Swansea City. It was, of course, a game where these two went head-to-head in the dugout. Russell Martin versus Luke Williams, and Russell Martin come out superior on this one yet again and beat the Swans 3-1 in January. This one was where we were at that point in time was not good, and you could see though Russell Martin's team were tearing us apart. Southampton were insane, and it's scary to think that that's what he was trying to build for the Swans last 2 seasons. That's what he wanted us to become, and yeah, that was an incredible performance from Southampton. We ended up getting a goal, but in the end, not enough for the Swans to get anything off Russell Martin in that game. Then it was back to FA Cup action. After beating Morecambe, we had another game this time against Bournemouth. We'd already played them in the Carabao Cup, and it was one to forget. I remember doing a watch-along for this one. It was absolutely awful. Of course, coming up against a Premier League side, Luke Williams had just basically come through the door at Swansea. It wasn't good, and we got pumped 5-0 out of the FA Cup. Moving on then, the final game in January was against Leicester City, who were top of the league, and the only positive out of this game was signing Ronald, who made his debut. Of course, we lost 3-1. We got a goal in the end late on, I do believe, but Ronald was the only positive from that, and really did lift the fan base because he was a direct winger, first Brazilian to ever sign for Swansea, and really quick, really pacey, and wanted to make things happen, which was very exciting. We also signed in January Charles Sago Jr. on loan from Arsenal, who I don't think he even started a game. I remember him being subbed on in one game in February, if that, but that was it, and really a waste of a loan. And then, of course, Placheta, who was a free agent from Norwich City. The Swans took him on, and I wish he had signed an extension. He got injured towards the end of the season, but looked a really good player, and I really liked him. Into February then, the Swans started off with defeat to Plymouth, and I do believe this was Plymouth's first away victory of the season. Typical it was against the Swans. Great fans though, and yeah, this was not looking good for the Swans. And having a look at the fixtures upcoming, you'd think at some point in February the Swans were going to drop into the bottom 3. That thought was quickly shut down though, as the Swans went away to Hull, high-flying, and got a 1-0 win. We never do well away at Hull, but under Luke Williams, hopefully that's a sign of things to come, doing well away at Hull. A 1-0 win. It wasn't a pretty display. We got away with a lot of chances that Hull missed, but a really good result in the end, and that's all that matters. Then we went back home, and probably one of the worst performances of the season, to be honest. Under Luke Williams in the league, lost 4-0 to Leeds, and at that point they were flying as well. And then, of course, the weekend after, we played Ipswich, another side up there in the Championship, who later got on to get promoted, and they won 2-1. This one was a bit more close of a game, but you could still see Ipswich and the quality they possessed in that game. Then it was the end of the month off, a game on my birthday. We won 2-1 away at the Stadium of Light, and Ronald with his first Swansea City goal. In fact, he got a brace in this game. Great for him, and made February look a lot better after those 2 wins in the month. 2 wins, 3 defeats, could have been a lot better, but the Swans really were building under Luke Williams. Going into March then, and I think this is where we saw the best football from Luke Williams at Swansea City. Really started to look like a team, and going into next season now, this is what really excites me, because of course we got the win to begin March off, a 2-1 win against Blackburn Rovers, and then we went away to Watford. It was a really one of those days, really, wasn't it, where no one seemed up to it. It was a 1-1 draw, still got a result. I do believe we were 1-0 up in this game, and then conceded late on. It was always going to happen. And then away to Bristol City, which these 2 games, we didn't look threatening. You know, after beating Blackburn 2-1 at home and then going to Watford and Bristol City and not looking threatening was very disappointing. I think in the Bristol City game we didn't even have a shot on target all game. But then it quickly swapped around, and Luke Williams did incredibly well to hype all the players up for this game against Cardiff in the Sheffield derby. We couldn't let them do the double on us after we'd just done a double on them. So it was a great game, probably the best of my life. I'm not even over exaggerating on that. My first ever time going to the Swans to actually watch a Sheffield derby live. I'd always watched on the TV before, but the atmosphere was unreal. I'll never forget it, and what a win to go with it as well. So that was by far the best performance of the season. And if we can play like that, if we can just imagine the opposition being Cardiff every week, we would win the league. 100%, 100%, because we always seem to turn up for games against Cardiff, but whenever it's anyone else, we sort of take a different approach. But if we said to ourselves we're playing Cardiff every week, we would 100% win the league. I put money on it. But of course, that's all if, buts and maybes. And then to end March off, we went away to Hillsborough and got a 1-1 draw. This was not a great performance or result after what we've seen against Cardiff. But of course, that was a great day anyway. And in the end, that point doesn't really matter for us, or it doesn't really matter for Sheffield Wednesday either, because they stayed up as well. Into April then, we began with a defeat against QPR. I think this was on Easter Monday, and probably one of the worst performances under Luke Williams as well. All I remember from this game is Nathan Wood passing it between him and Cabango, I think it was, and Rushworth in a triangle at the back three, sorry. That's all I remember from that game, and then that Steve Cook winner for QPR. So not a great game, that one. And then against Middlesbrough, we lost 2-0 away there. That was also not a good game. So that's 3 games then after the Swans Cardiff win. That's 3 games without victory. And going into the game against Stoke, we knew we had to win this one to, put to bed at long last our fears of relegation from a shambolic season. And thankfully we did. We really did turn up in this one. We won 3-0 at home against Stoke. Probably wasn't the best performance, but we were clinical, something we hadn't been in many other games this season. And then after that, we played Rotherham, also got another win thanks to an own goal. Probably one of the worst games of football I've seen this season, with just boring game. And then, of course, we made it 3 wins in a row in April. After that, 3 games without a win. We beat Huddersfield away 4-0. Now, in this game, it was 0-0 for so long, and then we got the breakthrough in the second half, and after that, Huddersfield just dropped off completely, so we were able to just take advantage of that. But a lot of good stuff happened in that game. Josh Tymon really highlighted himself as a big threat. Jerry Yates was still scoring, a man who's come under a lot of criticism this season at Swansea, and I really do want him to do well, but for the price we paid in the summer and for what he's delivered this season, has not worked out well at all. And then to end April off, then we got a 2-2 draw away at playoff finishing Norwich City. So this was a great result. 2-2, very entertaining game as well. And then to finish the season off, we had a home game against Millwall, and just like the QPR game, this one was quite boring. You could tell it was end of season, and we lost this one 1-0. So overall in the season then, Swansea finished 14th, 57 points. We scored 59 goals in the league, 65 goals conceded. A lot of them, of course, under Michael Duff, and in that December period without a permanent manager. 7 points off the drop this season, which at the end of the season actually seems quite scary. And we were 16 points off the playoff places. So next season, what can we achieve? I think we've got to be looking to finish in the top half. I really do like Luke Williams. He's already said in a few interviews he's not going to stop working over the summer. He wants the best for the Swans, and you can tell that he really does care. And you know what? Next season, I know I'm a Swans fan and I'm biased, but I really do think we could be pushing as a dark horse for the playoffs. Whether we'll make that or not is a little bit unrealistic. I don't think we're ready to go up, even if we had a great summer. We'd probably come straight back down, but so do a lot of better sides than us these days when they go up to the Premier League. So I think we really do have potential to kick on next season. We have to finish in the top half. I think Luke Williams knows the expectation of the club and what he needs to deliver. We've seen on multiple times in this season under him how good we can be. And as I say, that Cardiff game and the Stoke game were real highlights for me this season. If we play that every week, we'll win the league. or at least get automatic promotion. But they are glances of what we can become. But games like QPR and Millwall are what we really need to stay away from. It was just boring. It was really boring. Just standing over the ball for the whole game, not doing much with it, and too slow as well. So overall, this season then, a really poor one. Really poor one. Michael Duff was the wrong appointment. You can see that now. At the start, it looked really exciting, but over the season, it's looked like it's been a horror show. Alan Sheehan coming in did a really, really good job. Very underrated, and I'm really glad he's stuck by Luke Williams as part of the backroom staff now at Swansea City, because he also seemed to really care. And Luke Williams now, of course, he has a philosophy. He wants to play just like Russell Martin did, and very similar systems, by the way. So I really do think that he's the right man for the job. I really like Russell Martin, and I really like the way Luke Williams speaks about the club and how he's really, emotional when speaking about the club, because it shows he cares a lot, which is really, really good to see. For next season, am I confident we're going to have a better season than this year? 100% yes. I would almost put money on it. If I was a betting man, I'd put money on the Swans to achieve more than 57 points next season and finish higher than 14th. I do think we're in for a good year next year. Areas to improve then over the summer and going into next season, and I have to say, mainly looking at the players we brought in last summer, a lot of them weren't good enough. So we got to focus on recuperating a lot of money, but on the pitch, we've got to be hard to beat. We've got to use the ball a lot better than what we did in some of these games. There's a QPR game and the Millwall game are perfect examples where we just stood over the ball, need to get it moving, because otherwise we're going to get punished from it. It's going to be a ball fest at the end of the day. Luke Williams, for me, is the right man, 100% for the job, and I'm so glad he's ours. At the start, it looked like there was a few question marks over him. The jump from League 2 to the Championship, obviously, is a huge jump, but he seems like, he's at the end of the season, and now he looks to build on next season. And I think that's a great way of doing it, because next season now won't be his debut in the Championship. He's already had a taster, and now he knows what to expect for next season. So I think that's really good and really promising. If we're having a look then, why was it a bad season? We can have a look at multiple things. Michael Duff is a huge problem from this season. No matter if you like him or not, if you're a Swans fan, you'd have to look at the season and think Michael Duff was a problem. Recruitment in the summer as well. We lost the likes of Whittaker for so cheap. Encham, Perot as well. We never really replaced those type of players. So, and we got a lot of players brought in, but they're not really the quality we need to be pushing up the league. And everyone higher up than, of course, the manager at the club, everyone in the board says, yeah, we're going to get this club back to the Premier League. That's the ambition, that's the aim. Well, show a bit of ambition in the transfer window then. If that's actually our aim, we've got to be signing players who are able to take us to their next step and be competitive at the top of the Championship. Well then guys, that is my review of the 2023-24 Championship season for the Swans. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, smash the like button and subscribe as always. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below on the Swans season this year. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next and very soon guys. Take care. Good.